Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Welcome to 2nd PU Computer Science online classes. In last class, we know that some important concept that is from SQL Commands, SQL Architecture, DDL, DML and also some of the important SQL constraint. We know the meaning of the constraint that is called as the rules. So some of the rules in SQL constants are primary key, foreign key, not null, unique, check condition. And we already completed some important concept that is SQL implementation or implementation of the SQL commands. The commands are create, and create table is using to create new table, and also some of the other commands like alter command. The table can be modified or changed by using our alter command. In case you want to make some changes in table, maybe the name of the column, here anything in table, then such one going to use by using command like our alter command. And also finally the last command that is called as about our drop command. And we know the uses of the drop command. The drop command is used to remove the table definition, and you should remember, and that means such command you have to be used very carefully. Why? Because once the table is deleted, then the table along with information whatever created with the table, everything would be lost forever. So this is about our drop command. And after completing all those, let's the next important some of the commands in our SQL. The next thing is about our insert command. Now what's the use of the insert command? We know that create table is using to create new table, and after creating the table I want to insert some data into the table, or in simple I want to create some record into the table. So such a record is possible by using, or the creation of the record we can by using the command like our insert into command. So the SQL insert into command is used to add new rows of data to a table in the database. I want to create new record into the table by using our insert command. And in our insert there are two syntaxes of insert command, or we can say that there are two basic syntaxes of insert into statement. So the first syntax is insert into table underscore name, opening of the square bracket, then open the parenthesis, column 1 comma column 2 comma column 3 comma. If many columns are there, you can use all those columns name, or maybe the last column that is called as the column n. Then whatever the parenthesis we open, such parenthesis going to close, then we need to close the square bracket. Now how we created the column, like that only we need to add values for that columns. So the values, then opening of the parenthesis bracket, value 1 comma value 2 comma value 3, then later till the last column value we need to enter. Now we know that this is the syntax about our insert into command. Why? Because I already said there are two syntaxes are there in our insert into statement. So this is the first syntax, and about the next syntax let's see later, that is called as the populate the one table using another table. So before discussing about the second syntax, let's the full explanation about our first syntax here. So we know that why? Because here the column 1, column 2, column 3 and the column n are the names of the column in the table. Okay, so whatever the columns are there in the table, first of all we need to declare all those columns one after the another. Okay, here, so this is about our, and all these are the name into the table into which you want to insert the data, to which column you want to insert the data. First of all we need to write the name of those columns. Clear this point here? And later, now let's how to write the example. So in this case we can say that the example we need to write as the SQL query insert into, and the table name I want to use, why, because I already created the table. The name of the table is the employees, so the table name I am using as the employees. And later next one, in our syntax I open the square bracket and also with the parentheses, but while going to create the record, just only the parentheses, it's enough. Clear this point? And later next one, the column 1 name is the ID, column 2 name is the name, and column 3 age here. So here I use some of the dot, that means many columns are there till the last of the column. The last of the column is the column N. So the address, salary, everything I separated by using the comma, and later I open the parentheses, so such parentheses we need to close. And later after that, whatever the columns we completed, we need to write the value to those columns. So the value 1 comma ABC 42, that means here ID is the 1 and name is the ABC. Okay, and later next one, age is the 42, address that is the Tumkur, and salary 40,000.00, that means I used in the decimal fraction. And in case you want to use in integer, we need to give in while going to create the table. So this is one, that means after pressing the enter button on that tab, we'll get the message as the one row created. That means just only we created one record in our table. The table name is the employees, and maybe you want to create one more record, then again we need to write. So it's going to write in the same manner how we created the first record. So like that only, the insert into employees, ID comma name comma age comma address comma salary, then closing of the parentheses. Why? Because we open the parentheses before the ID. Okay, and later whatever the columns we created, the same thing we need to use the values for that columns here. So the values for the second, why? Because first of all we already created the ID with the value 1. Now I am using the ID value as the 2 and the name as the Naveen and age as the 39, address as the Bida, and salary. Why? Because I used the data type as the decimal fraction. So because of this reason 35,000.00. Clear this point here? So I need to, on that time when you are pressing the enter button, will get the message as the one row created. Clear this point here? So this is, but one important note. Why? Because we know that here the column 1, column 2, column 3, column N, all are the names of the columns into which we want to insert the data. But most important note in our insert into statement, we can say that, so make sure that the order of the values as in the same order in the that means the columns of the table. So how we are using the column name, like that only we need to enter the values for those column. Maybe first of all if you are using ID, that means first of all we need to enter the value for the ID. The second column is the name, we need to enter the value for the name, that is the ABC. And maybe any group of string, that means the group of character, that is called as the string, such one going to enclose within single quote. Clear this point? So here name I used by using this single quote, and also for the address for I used by using our, or should be enclosed within single quote. Okay, and for any numeric value should not, that means we are not going to use any single quote here. So this is about some important notes. So clear this point? So important note, make sure that the order of the value is in the same order as the columns in the table. So how we are using the column, like that only we need to enter the value for the columns. Okay, so this is the first syntax about our insert into table and underscore name. And after completing the first syntax, why? Because we know that in our insert into statement there are two basic syntaxes are there here. Now let's see the second syntax. The second syntax is about populate one table using another table. Now what's the meaning of the populate one table using another table? In simple way we can say that there are two tables are there. Okay, the two tables are there, and we created the table in the name of first table and the second table here, and some data is there in our second table. Now whatever the data is there in our second table, I want to just add such a data into the first table. So this is the meaning about our populate one table using another table. That means whatever the data is there in our second table, I am using such a data into the first table here. So the populate in simple meaning we can say as the addition, add some data that is from second table to the first table. Now let's first of all what's the syntax, and later words I am going to explain about all the populate one table using another table. So the syntax: insert into first underscore table underscore name, opening of the square bracket, then again open the parenthesis, column 1 comma column 2 comma column n, closing of the parenthesis, closing of the square bracket, then select. I want to select, I already said, why? Because some data going to add that is from second table to the first table. So I am selecting column 1 comma column 2 comma column n, and from second underscore table underscore name, and maybe if you want to use some of the condition, okay, in this syntax you can use. Why? Because whatever the condition is that such condition is working in optional basis. Okay, if you want you can use such a where condition. I written by using the square bracket then our semicolon. So we know that. Why? Because the populate, so you can populate or add the data into a table through select statement. Correct? No, how we used, how we enter, how we add the data that is from second table to the first table. That means such a data is added by using our select statement. So you can populate the data into a table through select statement over another table, that means from second table to the first table, and provided the another table has a set of fields. If no columns are there in second table, is it possible to add the data or any column to the first table? That means first of all to add any column or any data into the first table, first of all we need to have some of the column in our second table. So provided the another table has a set of fields and which are required to populate to the first table. Correct? Now all those columns we need to add the data into the first table. So this is the meaning about our populate the one table using another table. So clear this point here. So this is about our insert, some of the explanation about our insert into statement. We know that the insert into or the SQL insert into statement is used to add new rows of data to a table in the database, or in simple to create a record. After creating a table, I want to enter the record into the table one by one. So such record we can by using the command like our insert into, and in our insert into statement there are two basic syntaxes are there. The first syntax is the insert into table underscore name, column 1 comma column 2 comma column 3 comma column n, and later next one after using the columns we need to enter the values that are value 1 comma value 2 value 3 and the value n. So this is the first syntax of the SQL insert into statement, and the second syntax we can say about our populate one table using another table. Now after completing the insert into statement, now let's the next command, the most important command of the SQL, that is the select command. Now what do you mean by a select? We already just you have to imagine it. We already created the table. The name of the table is the employees here, and we already entered or create a record by using the command like our insert into command So like that we created many record one after the another by entering the column name as well as the value to each columns, okay. And after completing all those, now maybe 7 records are there in our table employees. Now in 7 record, maybe I want to access all the record, or maybe just I want to access some record from the table. So how we can access all those record from the table? So we can say that the SQL select statement is used to fetch. What's the meaning of fetch? F-E-T-C-H. The meaning of the fetch is called as the accessing of the record. I want to access, consume the data from the table employees here. So the SQL select statement is used to fetch the data from a database, okay here. And after fetching, why? Because in our employees many records are there, totally 7 records are there. We already created 7 records by using command like our insert into command. Now just only out of 7 I want to access 3 records. Clear this point? Out of 7 I want to access just 3 record from the table employees here. So we can say that whatever the record we accessed from the employee, the 3 record, so which return the data in the form of result table. So whatever the record I accessed from the table employee, just only such answer going to display in our result table, and these result table are also called as the result sets. So clear this point here. What's the meaning of the result set, and what's the use of the select command? So the select command is used to access, to fetch the data from a database table, and later after accessing maybe all record from the employees, or maybe just a few or some record from the employee, that means such all those data which return, all those data going to return by using our result table, and these result table are called as the result set. So whatever the answer we will going to access the final answer, okay. So such one is called as the result sets here. And after knowing the meaning of the select statement, now let's some of the command are also using in our select SQL select statement. So the first command we can say that the this command is specially going to use. Why? Because to access just only the access the column from the table, or simple the basic syntax of the select statement of the SQL is as follows. So the first one is about the syntax: select column 1 comma column 2 comma column n from table underscore name. Clear this point? So here just only some columns are going to access. Maybe while using the example how we are going to use, that means select maybe column 1, many columns are there in our employees table. The columns are ID, name, age, salary, okay. 4 columns are there. The first column is the ID, second column is the name. Otherwise you can take this example only. The first column is the ID, second column is the name, third column is the age, fourth column is the address, and the fifth column is the salary. But I don't want to access all those columns from the table employee. I just want to access some column from the table employee. So how I am using the example: select ID, second column may be the name, otherwise any column you can access, it not necessary one by one you can access the column name. So the ID, second column I want to access as the name, and the third column I want to access as the salary from table underscore name, semicolon on that tab. Only such column answer going to display in our result table. So such one is called as the result sets here, okay. Now we know that just only some column if you want to access, that means we are going to use this syntax. Maybe you want to access all the column from the table. So what's the syntax going to use? Or we can say that, so about this explanation about the syntax, here the column 1, column 2, column n, so all are the columns of a table from the table employees here. So all are the fields or columns of the table from table employee whose value you want to access, correct? No, I want to access the column ID value, I want to access the column name value, I want to access the column salary. So that means just only some column answer you want to access, you want to display in our result set, that is called as the result table here. So we can say that maybe just only some answer you want to access means you are going to use this syntax: select column 1 comma column 2 comma column n from table underscore name. But if you want to access all the columns that are available in the table, how many columns are there in table employee, every column you want to access from table employee, then we need to use the syntax. The syntax is the select star from table underscore name. Clear this point? If you are using select star from table underscore name, that means how many columns are there in table employee, every column going to access one after another. And if you want just only some columns from the table employee, then we need to use this syntax: select column 1 comma column 2 comma column n from table underscore name. Now I think it clear the difference between the sum of a column and all column of a table. It will be clear to everyone about this one. So if you want to access all column from the table employee, then we are using the syntax. The syntax is the select star from table underscore name. On that time, whatever the answer or whatever the record we created in employees table, everything going to display in our result sets here. So clear the meaning? Otherwise the example we are using as the select star from employees semicolon, where you are pressing the enter button, whatever the record we created in table employee, everything going to display. Okay, thank you.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.